Hello, Kyle. We're going to take a look at your 5 characteristics posting here. So we'll go ahead and share screens, take a look and see where you are right in here, and we'll get started. So first thing that I tend to do is to just sort of go over your posting, see how you did with the instructions, basically getting everything labeled correctly, all of the images up there the way they should be, the way we've asked to have them posted. This is an important thing, only only because it's sort of an easy thing to do, but it's not always followed. Being able to have a set of parameters and then being able to sort of follow those parameters, believe it or not, is a learned skill. Sometimes we misinterpret or we don't quite get the idea, or maybe there's just a technical thing that gets in people's ways. But looks like we have contrast, temperature, intensity, and direction. So we're missing the hardness portion. You probably know that. So you'll certainly want to revise and get that up there on the resubmission for you. So looking at the compositions here, because really, when it comes to the projects, although this isn't a composition class, we do want to incorporate all of those principles into what we're doing. The camera is a wonderful tool for exercising compositional skills because it's so reductive. We put it in front of something, we have a set frame, it sees things much the same way that we see things. It's a wonderful tool to be doing compositional exercises. And so we always want to be doing that. The first thing that I'm observing is you're pretty far away, at least in these first ones that I'm focusing on here, meaning you're not very close to the objects. The objects here are sort of floating in space. You can see there's space around all of the objects here, space around almost all the objects. We do have one right here. That's getting better. This is starting to get better. I probably had come over at some point and said, hey, move some things closer. Here we have things far away. Now, I'm not suggesting that you can't have photographs where objects are in the background here. However, in this exercise, what we're trying to do is activate the space. We're trying to use light in a particular way and de-emphasize the subject. The main way to do this is going to be to address the subject more as shape, texture, and value. And so to do that, what we're going to be doing is we're trying to do everything we can to reduce the objects down to those 3 things. And to do that, we simply can come in close. Coming in close is the first and most obvious way to do it, so we might as well do that. So I would say that's the first thing that I would suggest would be to get in much, much closer on these objects, or pulling them much, much closer. That said, it looks like you got the actual technique of moving things around. Your exposures are a little dark, meaning underexposed. However, that's okay. We're also getting a lot of extra information. That has to do with being pretty far away as well. We've got little bits right over here. Of course, we have the light in the scene right here, which we wouldn't want to have. The only one where we really are addressing the light in the middle is probably this one right here, where you've got the complete backlit situation. Moving in on intensity, now we have the opportunity to add up a couple new factors here with the extra light. One, we can illuminate the shadows. The other we have to address is a double direction that happens when we do that. So we're illuminating the shadows, but we're also creating extra shadows by having a secondary light. The main thing here is to emphasize the balance between the key and the fill. The key light always needs to be as much stronger. I'm not sure what we're doing here with 4 to 7. It's always going to be a 1 to something. 1 equals the key light. The key light is 1 part key light to how many parts of the fill light would it take to equal the key light. So for instance, if the key light is at 100% intensity, let's just say that, and the fill light is at 50% intensity, then it would take 2 of those fill lights to equal the key light. So then that would mean that it is a 1 key light to 2 fill lights. Even though we only have 1 fill light, we would say that it would take 2 of these fill lights to equal 1 key light. That means the ratio is 1 to 2. So 4 to 7, I'm not exactly sure what you're getting at there. Maybe we can chat about that, what you're meaning there. Again, you're pretty far away here. I don't know, maybe we can get in closer. I'm gonna kind of scroll through a little bit and see if any of your images are getting closer here. Not a whole lot. I'm going to encourage you right away on these next projects to really take a step closer. You may be pushing the limits on being able to focus, but I really want you to get in there and allow these objects to sort of take on a different form rather than just subject. That's a real big step. As soon as you're able to do that, your photography will grow, and it'll go in a whole new direction, and that direction will be your visual voice. Looking at the temperature, you really are doing a good job of exploring the various lighting solutions. We've got lots of different color variations. You are taking a step a little bit closer here, which is good. One thing I am seeing, however, is the same composition over and over. Unless we actually have a project that is specifically asking for that, which in the aesthetics and control, we're doing that, the one we're working on at the moment. But this past project, we haven't had that at all. So the same composition repeated over and over is really not what we're going for. Would much rather have you switch up these compositions quite a bit and still explore all of the various lighting solutions, because we have so many different ways in which we can combine lighting that we might as well also explore the variations of composition that we could use. The single photograph over and over just isn't serving that. Again, here we have the same photograph over and over again. You know, I don't know if you ran out of time and you were just kind of trying to get as many done as possible. I appreciate that, trying to fill in, you know, and get as much up there as possible. But it looks like you kind of maybe ran out of time because we're, you know, getting in there and making the same photograph over and over. And I'm really not seeing a whole lot of difference between these contrasts. The contrast is where we're using the reflector card, and that is to bounce light back in. If we're using the same composition and the same exact lighting, there isn't a whole lot of exploration we're doing with that card. So without going too far into that and just presuming that, hey, you probably, you know, just didn't get the project completed the way that you wanted it to, you'll have a second bite at the apple. I'll go ahead and sort of revise you know, what your grade will be after you do a resubmit. That'll be fine. And we can talk further about some of the maybe closer details or questions you might have on how to fix that up. So, all right, well, we will see you back in the studio. All right, bye now.